So the first round of Premier League matches have been played, and let's see whose prediction was the most accurate. Mine or those of the AI, and then specifically which AI. So for each match, I'll go through the score and then we'll look at which prediction was the closest. So the first match was Liverpool against Bournemouth. It ended 4-2, 6 goals in total. So who came the closest in terms of predictions? Well, ChatGPT and Meta predicted more accurately the final number of goals, 4 goals, whilst my own prediction predicted 3 goals, and the other two AI models also predicted 3 goals. But the predictions are pretty good because we all predicted Liverpool to win and to score a few goals. The next match was Liverpool. Sorry, the next match. The next match was Newcastle against Aston Villa. It ended 0-0. The predictions were quite off for this one. The closest prediction was Gemini, which had the general result correct, a draw, while the other predictions were quite varied and predicted a few goals. So the next match was Brighton against Fulham. It ended 1-1. In terms of predictions, there was a general consensus that Brighton would win the match 2-1. Only co-pilot went for a Fulham victory. In terms of the actual result, um, no one had the general result, a draw, correct. In terms of goals, all predictions were 1 goal off. The next game was Sunderland against West Ham, and it was probably the most surprising game in terms of result, with Sunderland, I'd say fairly unexpectedly winning 3-0. In terms of predictions, obviously, no one predicted such a large margin of victory for Sunderland. That said, co-pilot did predict Sunderland to win, whilst I thought it would be a draw. I don't fancy West Ham this season, but I didn't think Sunderland would run away with it in the way which they did. And then the other AI models predicted a win for West Ham, either 1-0 or 2-0. So, yeah, for this match, co-pilot made the best prediction. The next match was Tottenham against Burnley. All the predictions went in favour of Tottenham, either 2-0 or 2-1, and Tottenham ended up scoring 1 goal more than the 4 closest predictions. But in terms of predictions, we all had it pretty fairly accurate. So the next match was Wolves against Manchester City. And this was a match where the AI did quite a bit better than myself in terms of predictions. I went for a low scoring win for Manchester City. But with their new signing, Reinders, they absolutely dominated. So the AI was closest in terms of predictions for this match. The closest was Gemini, I'd say, for this match because it had a Manchester City win and it also correctly predicted the number of total goals, even though it didn't go 4-0 for Manchester City, 3-1, but it still predicted 4 goals. Next match, Crystal Palace against Chelsea. Now, I thought there'd be goals in this one, and so did the AI, and we all actually went for the same result, 2-1, because Crystal Palace a fairly solid team, but you'd think with the attacking force of Chelsea, there'd be a few goals in this one, but it ended 0-0. Yes, it ended 0-0. So my advice in the last video to put a bet on this one was it wasn't good advice. So it just goes to see that even if you got a consensus between all the AI models, it's not 100% trustworthy. It's not 100% guaranteed that it's going to be that result which was predicted by the AI. So in terms of this one, we were all equally wrong in terms of the result. Then we've got Nottingham Forest against Brentford. Nottingham Forest, yeah, more or less blew away Brentford 3-1. Um, predictions wise, we went for low scoring matches. I was probably the least accurate here, to be honest, 0-0. So I had no goals, whilst there were 4 goals in total. Um, so Gemini and Copilot were correct in terms of the winners, even though they were quite off in terms of the number of goals scored in this match. So, probably the biggest fixture of this week was Manchester United against Arsenal. Despite being the better team, Manchester United could manage to score a goal, and Arsenal won narrowly 1-0. I managed to get the exact result correct, and so did Gemini. The last match was Leeds against Everton on Monday night, with Leeds just edging it due to a fairly dubious penalty near the end of the match. Although Leeds, they did deserve to win, in my opinion. So for this one, I had the results exactly correct, and so did co-pilot again, like in the last match. So we've gone through the matches individually, and we've also seen the predictions for each match. Now let's have a look at the general picture to see who is the most accurate, who has been the most accurate for the first week of games of the Premier League. So you can see that Copilot is just pipping me to the top of the table. It managed to predict more general results better than myself, and that includes draws as well. So it's 2 points ahead of me, and you can see how this little sort of table works in terms of gaining points. I'll leave you the link to a little manual I made for this Excel file, which does all the calculations. You can see that Chat GPT had a poor week, only predicting 20% of the general results correctly. And you can also see that's pretty difficult to predict an exact result. Um, Only, yeah, my own predictions and those of Copilot managed to get an exact result correct. And this only 20% of the time. So we'll see how this evolves in the coming weeks. And yeah, we'll try and beat the AI. We won't look at the AI's predictions first. We'll always go first, and then we'll see what happens. But I think it's an interesting experiment. Okay, so I'll see you next week, guys. Have a good one. Bye.